Hey everybody, I have a pretty exciting video to share with you guys. I really wish something like this had been out there for me when I was trying to go about this journey. Before we get started, just to allay any fears, I actually filmed the results part of this video using my phone. It takes longer to upload to YouTube, but it has better resolution. So you will be able to see what happened to my skin very clearly. So you may or may not know that megadosing with vitamin B5 is a treatment for acne. I think these days you can find a fair amount of information on the treatment itself on the internet. I haven't actually checked, I'm just assuming. However, there's not much information out there about tapering or weaning yourself off of vitamin B5 megadoses. I have had to figure this out for myself, so I wanted to share it with you all. In order to give you context, I think I first need to tell you about my acne situation as it started out. So my acne began when I was 8 years old, and it actually runs in my family. Both of my sisters still have acne, and my mother, who is 63 years old, still gets acne, as does at least one of my aunts. It's a problem in our family. My acne was so bad and so recalcitrant that by the time I was a senior in college, my dermatologist had tried literally every topical and oral medication for my acne. I even did two 8-month courses of Accutane. I remember the dermatologist saying to me before the second course, if this doesn't work, there's really nothing left to try. And sure enough, it did not work. So I just had to fend for myself after that. But fast forward to my first year in medical school, fall of 2008, I was chatting with a second year, and he was telling me how he cleared his acne using megadoses of B5. There was not a ton of information about this on the internet. I think there was like one page that I found, but I was desperate and I had tried everything else. So I started taking 2,000 milligrams, meaning 4 500 milligram tablets of B5 every single day. I don't remember the exact time frame for how long it took to work, but within a month or two, I had clear skin for the first time since I was 7 years old. I actually remember my mother coming to visit me once that year and being absolutely in awe of how clear and glowing my skin was. So I was pretty excited. Now, if you are megadosing on any particular B vitamin, that can throw off your levels of other B vitamins. So to compensate, I started taking B complex as well as a biotin supplement. I want to give you a note of caution on the biotin supplement. It can break you out at high doses. I started out taking 5,000 milligrams a day, and that broke me out very severely, very quickly. So I tried lower and lower doses until I got to 1,000 milligrams a day. That worked for me. So I was taking 2,000 milligrams of B5, the B complex, and the biotin every single day. And that was for about a year. Despite taking those other supplements, I did experience something that I strongly believe was a side effect of the B5. I started losing a lot of hair. By the second year of medical school, I had a very wide part and a lot of bald spots all over my head. It got to the point where I could not style my hair in a way that my bald spots were not apparent. I ended up buying these nanofibers that you're supposed to shake onto the bald spot and then rub them in. But I'll tell you, not only are those expensive, they are a pain in the butt to use, because if you have bald spots in the back, trying to shake that on and rub that in when you have only two hands and your eyes are on the front of your face, it's pretty challenging. So I decided I wanted to try to taper. But unfortunately, there was very little information on the internet about tapering. Literally, the only thing that I could find was that if you take L-carnitine, which is involved in lipid metabolism, as is B5, you can take a little bit less B5 and have it still be effective. So I started taking L-carnitine and dropping one capsule of the B5. So I was taking 3 500 milligram capsules of B5 as well as the L-carnitine. The dosage of the carnitine doesn't matter because I ended up cutting that out. I cut that out in 2015, I believe it was, when I learned about something called TMAO. TMAO is a substance produced in your gut when you regularly consume high levels of carnitine, either from red meat or from supplements. High levels of TMAO in the blood pose a very high risk to cardiovascular health. So I cut the carnitine out very promptly after that. However, I did stick with the 1500 milligram dose of B5 because a part of me believed that the carnitine wasn't really making that big of a difference. Sure enough, my skin stayed clear with the 1500 milligrams a day. A few months of doing just the B5 and the B complex and the biotin, I decided I was going to try to continue with the taper. And my plan was to do one capsule every 3 months. And as long as my skin stayed clear, I would do another capsule and then another capsule. But with that, I got down to one capsule. So 500 milligrams a day of B5. For one reason or another, I stayed on that one capsule. I think it was because I was just afraid to go cold turkey. I may have tried briefly going off of it and had a bad experience. I don't remember if that was the case. You'd think I would, right? But I don't. I was on the one capsule of B5 until just recently. Recently, I had to slash my already tight budget. And I thought to myself, well, if I can get off the B5, I can also stop taking the B complex and the biotin. And plus, my hair situation had not improved at all in 12-ish years. So I thought this could benefit me in multiple ways if I can get off the B5. How do you taper from 1 milligram a day? 500 milligrams is the smallest dose that I've been able to find from a reputable brand. So what I decided to do was take 500 milligrams every other day for 1 month and see what happens. Right now, at this moment, I am wearing a mixture of white and tinted sunscreens, but bare-skinned Shelby is about to share the results of that experiment with you. All right, so this is first thing in the morning, 1 month into using just one 500 milligram tablet every other day. By the way, my skin has an orangey tint to it because I eat so many carotenoid-rich vegetables. We can talk about that another time. Looking past the oranginess, I am so incredibly excited with how things have gone. This is just a scar that I've had for years and years. As far as my actual acne situation, so please ignore the remnants of sunscreen on my eyelids. I have a hard time washing that off at night for some reason. All that I have like these faint two-dimensional spots where my head is jammed into the pillow at night. Yeah, you can barely see them, and you don't see them at all under my sunscreen. My chin is remarkable because it takes me over 20 minutes to brush my teeth. That's a whole nother situation. Having my electric toothbrush against my chin all that time, it's very, but right now, there's not a whole a lot. Again, just like these two-dimensional pinpoint spots, maybe a few three-dimensional ones, but barely. On this side, nothing on my nose. Yeah, the only real pimple I see is right here. And as you can see, it's so small. It's so tiny and so shallow that it disappears under my sunscreen. So, yeah. So, understandably, I was really excited by the results of this experiment. It's been a few days since I filmed that now, and still in the clear. I was thinking that I would try going cold turkey for the next month, but I realized I still have an almost full bottle of B5 left, and I don't want to waste that. So what I'm going to do is start taking it every third day for the next month, and then the month after that, every fourth day, and keep going like that until either the bottle is empty or my skin breaks out. If my skin breaks out, I'll just bump back up to whatever the previous level of B5 was at that time. Either way, I am definitely going to let you know what happens, because frankly, the lack of information about tapering that is on the internet is really, really, really frustrating for those of us who don't want to be taking thousands of milligrams of B5 every day for the rest of our lives. My hope is that once I get off it completely, my hair will start to come back. That'll be a really exciting day, because when I was a teenager, I actually had very thick hair. My individual hairs are very fine, but I had a lot of them. And that is not the case anymore. So fingers crossed that I'm going to get to a day when I don't have to take the B5 or the biotin or the B complex, and I don't have to use nanofibers when I go on a date. That'll be a great day. So anywho, if you want to know how everything goes, please do subscribe and hit that little notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. And if you found this video helpful in any way, please do give it a like. Feel free to drop some comments below with your experiences or your advice around B5, biotin, or any of the B vitamins. I think that those of us whose acne could not be solved by the medical establishment really need a stronger community of support, and we need more options. Please do let me know what you think. And with that, I hope you have an awesome day. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.